All right, welcome to the explainer. For decades, if you've had high blood pressure, you've heard one thing over and over: cut the salt. But what if that's just not the whole story? What if there's way more going on? Today, we're going to dig into what's really missing from that conversation. Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty wild fact. A whopping 95% of all high blood pressure cases get this label, essential hypertension. Now, that word essential is super misleading, right? It doesn't mean it's something you need. It's basically a fancy medical term for, yeah, we don't actually know the exact cause. So, for so long, salt has been public enemy number one. But what if it's just one tiny piece of a giant puzzle? And here's the thought. What if the real key isn't about what you need to take out of your diet, but what you might be desperately missing and need to put back in? All right, so let's get into the real story here. To truly get a handle on this, we've got to take a look inside our bodies at this incredible, complex network of blood vessels we all have. I want you to imagine this for a second. You have something like 60,000 miles of blood vessels inside you. That's insane. And they're supposed to be soft and flexible. But, over time, they can start to get stiff and hard. The medical term is arteriosclerosis. And it's just like an old garden hose that's been left out in the sun. It gets rigid. And when those pipes aren't flexible anymore, your body has to crank up the pressure just to get the blood to flow through. It makes perfect sense, right? And this is where things get really interesting. It shows us that the problem isn't always about having too much of something, like salt. A lot of the time, it's actually about a deficiency, not having enough of the good stuff. We're talking about a lack of really important minerals like potassium and magnesium, or even not getting enough vitamin D. These can be huge players in that whole stiffening process. Okay, and this leads us to something, well, it's kind of a paradox when you think about it. When we look at the standard ways we treat high blood pressure, something really fascinating and often missed comes to light. So let's talk about two minerals, sodium and potassium. The easiest way to think about them is like they're on opposite ends of a seesaw, right? Sodium basically tells your body, hey, hold on to water. And more water means more volume in your blood, which pushes the pressure up. Potassium does the exact opposite. It says, nope, let's get rid of that extra water, which helps keep everything in balance. Okay, so a lot of the common blood pressure meds, the diuretics, they're designed to do one thing: flush out all that extra sodium and water. And hey, they work. You take them and the blood pressure reading goes down. But, and this is a huge but, here's the catch. When that sodium and water get flushed out, they often take a friend with them, that all-important potassium. So you could actually be making the original mineral imbalance even worse. It's a real domino effect. This really gets you thinking, doesn't it? It leads to this totally different perspective. What if, at least in some cases, high blood pressure isn't the disease? What if it's the symptom, like a distress signal your body is sending up? Yeah, this is a concept called a compensatory response. Just think about it. Let's say one of your vital organs, maybe your kidneys or your brain, isn't getting enough oxygen. What's your body going to do? Well, it might actually raise your blood pressure on purpose. It's a survival move, a desperate attempt to literally force that crucial life-giving oxygen into those tissues that are starving for it. See, your body is literally trying to save its own life. But the problem is, if you don't fix the root cause, why those organs are low on oxygen to begin with, then this emergency response just gets stuck in the on position and becomes chronic. And if that's what's happening, just artificially lowering the pressure with a pill without fixing the oxygen problem, well, you can see how that might actually not be helping the real issue. So, this all brings us to a much more complete way to think about this, a way to support your vascular health that's built on 4 key pillars. Pillar number 1, we've got to fix that mineral imbalance we've been talking about. And notice, it's not just about don't eat salt. It's about actively, purposefully getting more potassium and magnesium into your system. So how much potassium are we talking about? The recommended daily amount is 4,700 milligrams. Now, to put that in perspective, a banana, which everyone thinks of for potassium, has maybe 400 milligrams. So you see, trying to get there with just bananas, you'd be eating a lot of bananas. It's almost impossible to hit that target unless you are really focusing on packing your diet with potassium-rich foods like huge salads and lots of green vegetables. Okay, on to pillar 2. We need to talk about this amazing little molecule called nitric oxide. Its main job in the body is to act like a signal that tells your arteries to just chill out, relax, open up, and stay flexible. It's basically the body's natural antidote to that artery stiffening we mentioned before. And the best part is, you can actually help your body make more of it. Foods like garlic, cucumbers, radishes, bell peppers, leafy greens, they're all fantastic nitric oxide boosters. Plus, your body uses something called L-arginine, which is an amino acid you can get as a supplement as one of the main building blocks to create this stuff. Super cool. All right, pillar number 3. This one's all about getting the right vitamins that act like bodyguards for the super delicate inner lining of your arteries. It's called the endothelium. Yeah, think of them as a security detail for your entire circulatory system. There's a special form of vitamin E called tocotrienols. It's a really powerful antioxidant that protects your artery walls from getting damaged. And then there's vitamin D3, which more and more research is showing plays a huge, huge role in keeping your whole cardiovascular system healthy. And last but not least, pillar number 4. Now, this one's probably not going to be a surprise to anyone, but it is absolutely non-negotiable, and that's movement. An active lifestyle. Simple stuff like walking every day is just fundamental for good circulation and the health of, well, your entire vascular system. Okay, so what do we do with all this information? How do we put it into action? The big takeaway here isn't some long list of don'ts. It's a positive, proactive checklist for how to support your body. You see how this just completely flips the old way of thinking on its head? Instead of focusing only on cutting something out, like salt, the real power is in actively adding these amazing nutrients in. It's all about feeding your vascular system exactly what it's craving to be healthy and strong. So in the end, maybe it's time to stop looking at blood pressure as just a number we have to force down and start listening to what it might actually be trying to tell us. Because when we see it as a complex signal, it opens up a whole new way forward. It lets us move past just managing a symptom and toward building real, lasting health from the inside out.